Welcome everyone to this edition of Lookin at Louisville. I'm Chaz.
I'm Stacy.
And we're here in front of the Mint Julep Tour bus because we're going to
the heart of Bourbon Country today.
And we're going to be heading down into Bardstown. In fact, we've got to get to the first distillery here in less than an hour, so we've got to get on the bus right away, and we're going to bring you with us.
Let's go.
All right.
On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again.
Well, we had a beautiful road trip from downtown Louisville. It was about 20 to 25 minutes, and now we're right into the heart of Bourbon Country, and we're making our first stop at...
It's the home place of Jim Beam, which is America's best-selling bourbon.
And who am I sitting in front of here?
We are in front of a statue of one of the legends of the bourbon industry in Kentucky. It's Booker Noe. He was a grandson of Jim Beam, and he was master distiller until his death in 2004. And his son Fred is now an ambassador for Jim Beam.
Well, I know that we're going to take a little tour through here, but we're also going to go into the house, the mansion, the original house of Jim Beam, and get a sample. Well, I think it's time for us to get started.
Let's go. The most important part, the most fun part, is the tasting room here in the Beam House.
We're going to start with the Baker's bourbon, and Baker's is aged for 7 years. It's 107 proof, and won the World Whiskey Award a year ago in Scotland in a blind taste test.
Wow, excellent.
Cheers. Cheers. All right, we've got an appointment at Heaven Hill. You ready for that?
Cheers.
Let's go.
Well, we made it to stop number 2. We're here at the Heaven Hill Heritage Center in Bardstown.
That's right, and this is one of 4 stops that we're doing today on the sort of the Bardstown portion of the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. There are 8 distilleries on the trail itself, 4 around the Bardstown area, and then 4 around the Frankfort, Lexington corridor off I-64. We'll do that on another podcast. This part is the sort of the self-guided portion. Heaven Hill has one of the most beautiful tasting rooms. We'll do that at the end of this tour.
And a beautiful facility, just
they
a treat.
do. They have a great movie that showcases not just Heaven Hill products, but the history of bourbon as well. And they've got a wonderful gift shop, so we'll check that out too.
Okay, well, we're going to go to the warehouse next, right?
That's right. Let's go. And we get to take a little trolley tour.
Yay.
All right.
Well, this warehouse was built in 1971. It holds 20,000 barrels and 7 floors high. And what goes on inside these barrels in the summertime, when it's hot here in Kentucky, bourbon actually soaks more into the white oak. And when it gets cold in the wintertime, it contracts back out. So what it does, it moves in and out of the wood. Over the years is what gives bourbon its amber color and its flavor. Okay, we'll talk a little bit about the barrel itself. It's made up of anywhere from 30 to 34 staves. Now, they can't use glue, screws, or nails to hold this barrel together. So what holds it together is the hoops or rings. You can use either term. Now, each stave has a groove cut in it on both ends of the barrel just to fit the taper of this barrel head. Now, this is just a half a barrel head right here. And to keep that from bowing out or bowing in, they use wooden dowels across here. Now, in between the joints of the barrel head, because they can't use glue now, what they use is cattails for a gasket. Now, this is something our forefathers learned years ago, that it doesn't correspond with the alcohol. It doesn't change the flavor of alcohol.
So it's amazing with all these technological advances in most industries, we're still making Kentucky bourbon much the same way it was made 2 years ago. It's amazing.
Well, needless to say, I'm an avid wine drinker, and I don't really know that much what I should look for when drinking bourbon. So, you know, being the bourbon virgin, what should I be looking for when drinking bourbon?
Now, the 4 characteristics of bourbon is color, aroma, taste, and finish. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. We've had a heavenly time at
We have.
Heaven Hill.
Thank you so
Well,
much.
thank you all.
I think now that I've grown my wings, I'm going to fly to the next place.
We're good.
All right, Heaven Hill was wonderful. Next up, Tom Moore.
All right, let's do it.
We are here at the Tom Moore Distillery. Finally, this is a first for me. Recently opened a tour just a couple of months ago and expanding to create a whole new visitor experience soon, but this is the first. We are with the master distiller, Greg Davis, and the chief chemist, Ken Pierce, and we're going to get ready to go inside and see what it's all about.
Come on back in. What are we smelling real quick?
That fermenting mash.
Yeah, it's something that's all around in the air here.
It's intoxicating. This is pretty cool. You don't see this at all the distillery tours. This is a big truck, and this is a grain dump. So they're dumping this corn.
Bourbon by definition must be sour in nature. Now that doesn't mean it's a rancid sour, it's actually a sweet sour. What we're doing is we're taking the most liquid fraction from a previous distillation and putting that back in to each and every mash cook. Instead of it being all water, you take some of this back and set it into each mash cook. That gives you that sour nature. Again, it's not a rancid sour, it's a sweet sour.
And we're in the Warehouse Z right now.
We're in beautiful Warehouse Z. This is the home of 1792 where all of it ages.
Which is the flagship brand of the Tom Moore Distillery.
And we store bourbon on the floors 4 through 7. Bourbon ages higher in the warehouse. We do not rotate our barrels.
We are just finishing our meal at Kurtz's, which is a great spot if you're doing the Bardstown Bourbon Trail area. A great stop for lunch. What did you have? Tell us about what you
had. I had just a grilled chicken salad. It was great. Then I had some of the vegetarian soup.
I had that too, and the Reuben, which was wonderful. Also, I usually get the hot brown when I come here, but we're having a big dinner tonight, so I thought I'd save the calories.
And what kind of pie is this?
This is coconut, and Mark had the chocolate that he's still working on.
Where are we going to next?
We are going to our final stop today on this part of the Bourbon Trail, Maker's Mark in Louisville.
We'll see you there.
All right. So you may be wondering who's been in some of these shots with us all day as we've been riding around, and it's Sean Higgins.
Well, Mint Julep Tours is about the experience of Bourbon Trail. The purpose of fun is to have it, and that's what we're all about. Having people safely join us, drive down the Bourbon Trail, experience all the distilleries that they want, and get there and get home safely. MintJulepTours.com. You can package 2 distilleries and a lunch, 3 distilleries, or you can do the whole Bourbon Trail.
We've made it to our final destination, the Maker's Mark Distillery, and in fact, we're in the original house.
This actually used to be the gift shop where you would start your tour, and you still start your tour of the Maker's Mark Distillery here, but they've since added on. They spent a considerable amount of money to upgrade their visitor center experience, and I think you'll be quite surprised at the end. It's a real neat kind of payoff to the tour and where their new gift shop is. We are here with Susan with Maker's Mark, who's going to give us a tour of the grounds.
Welcome to Maker's Mark.
Thank
We're
you.
very pleased to have you here with us today, and we're going to walk through the grounds and find out how Maker's Mark is handcrafted.
We start with 70% yellow field corn. Second ingredient is red winter wheat. The third ingredient is malted barley. This is the fermentation process. We use cypress vats that are over 100 years old, so 10,000 gallons of fermentation. This is water, cooked grain, and yeast. Stir around in the mash. Tastes sweet.
Yeah, sure does.
First day is sweet, second day is flat, and third day is very, very sour. We double distill our bourbon. The first step is a polymer still, copper column. Then double distilling is through a pot belly still in the basement. That's 130 proof raw grain alcohol. We call that stuff White Dog. White Dog, you got it. Maker's Mark bottles are all hand dipped. We can dip as many as 23 bottles a minute. The runs of the wax make every bottle unique. So our clear grain alcohol is going to go in here and it gets to sleep. It gets to sleep 3 years first time before we taste it. Then it gets to sleep for 5 years and 9 months. You ready for a taste?
Of course we are.
Are you ready?
Are you ready? Ta-da! Welcome to Maker's Mark.
Now this is cool. This is like, again, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory where they walk in and they get to enjoy the treats. That's what we're going to do now. Very cool.
Salute. Drink up.
It's like a warm blanket.
Isn't it? Well, I like bourbon all year, but especially in the colder weather. It's just cozy. It's like your stomach getting a hug. So Chaz, I think we've had a great day, don't you?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Exploring the first part of the Kentucky Bourbon Trail around the Bardstown corridor. In a future podcast, we're going to do the other 4. We're going to visit Four Roses, Wild Turkey, Woodford Reserve, and Buffalo Trace. If you've got a suggestion for a future podcast, tell us where you want to go, what you want to see, send it to us.
Podcast to go to Louisville.com.
And we'll send you some swag, maybe a Just Add Bourbon t-shirt, right?
That'd be good.
Yeah. And as always,
You're looking at Louisville.
see you real soon. Cheers.
I'm ready to be the dipper.
Oh, I think you are the dipper. Good luck.
Are you able, can we dip people?
Sure.